What's a Californication?
It's what you
It's
get.
like the Hollywoodding of everything.
It's like basically Chevra, but when you move to California, you embrace, assimilate into the culture. Assimilate.
It's always an amazing thing when you start to become, let's say, more conscious. One of the first things that people notice is that they sing like this, like they're singing songs or something, stuff that they grew up singing. And they catch themselves like in the words and like, what did I just say? And you realize just how music, in Kabbalah says it comes from the sphere of Malchus. Malchus means influence. Malchus is the king, is the kingship. So musicians are the kings. Musicians have the power. And you become very vulnerable. Because when someone's playing music, you're like, start going, the flow starts going. That's why remember like those old videos of like the Beatles? Like the Beatles, and the girl's like, like, girl, like it's okay, like relax, freaking out, bugging out, freaking out, yeah.
They do.
You're okay, it's gonna be okay. He like sort of looked in the direction of the stadium I was in,
Getting taken out of stretchers.
yeah, like, because it's such influence, and music, you're very vulnerable. So that's how the subliminal messaging also goes in, because once you're in the music, it all just goes in. You're very vulnerable to malchus, to the influence of music. So a big thing that people do is they start like thinking, so what were those words? It's an amazing thing, because the tunes are in there from when a person was growing up, and then you start thinking like, so what was it all about?
I don't usually do this. Jeez.
Mizrahat Hashem. Music is so powerful. Music is so good. Music is in the holy temple. Music is in the temple. You know how holy that is? We had music as part of the holiest service in the world. Which means music is everything. That's why we have such great musicians here. It's so moving. Because music is so moving. It's so powerful. So we want to elevate the powers of music to the highest worlds. That's what we've been talking about in the Rabbi Nachman Shir, that now that there's 7 notes in the musical scale, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. That's the end of the octave, and do is already the next. So when Mashiach comes, there's going to be 8 notes in the musical scale. Try to work that one out, without flats and sharps. Going to be 8 notes. And in the world to come, there's going to be 10 notes.
Skip 9.
There's going to be a new consciousness. You can't understand in your brain now. We're going to be going into a new dimension of consciousness. It's very powerful stuff.
The first
Speaking of good stuff.
Yeah.
That's what happens in Shemayim. You make a bracha, it's like a jazz band starts going off there.
You know that song, Rabbi? You lift me up, break me down, learn me up, make me scream, make me move like a freak.
That's what it is. Maybe it's the non-word version in Shemayim.
Why do we sing one of the songs in Kabbalat Shabbat specifically describes like playing instruments? I forget which one, but why would we do that on Shabbat? Because we can't actually play.
In the base of Mikdash.
Why can't you play music on Shabbat?
We can just chant.
In the base of Mikdash.
You can?
You can plug into your amp, but you can...
You can play at all times at the basement.
No.
The base of Mikdash had certain rules that were different.
Why?
Get ready, Rabbi.
I like different.
Get ready. The base of Mikdash is coming.
You can't play like an acoustic instrument on Shabbos.
Sometimes I like
Can't.
to take a look over just to make
One of the main reasons, I want you guys to think about this. One of the main reasons is that we're worried you're going to fix it if it breaks. Well, just appreciate that for a second. Appreciate that, because that's called boine or makabapatish. Appreciate that. that the jam, and I want to even go one step further. There are certain poskim that go so far as to say that not only are we worried about that you might fix an instrument, we're worried that if you play instruments on Shabbos, you might come to build an instrument. Now, what do you hear from that?
Tune.
What you hear from that is, it must be that they used to rock out so hard back in the day that if they were jamming and there was some circle going on and the jam was, like as we're getting to the beat drop, like it's pumping, it's going, that people would be so revved up and so excited and so pumped up that they would feel a need to just like, bro, I gotta build a harp. Like, I gotta be in this now. I gotta build me an instrument. I have to fashion something together. So not only that people would fix, that I understand. I like playing guitar a lot. If you're in a jam and a string pops, and like you really, either you just keep playing, but if you have the moment, you need to fix it. It's like, I gotta fix this. I have to fix this. And that's a problem on Shabbos. Because everything's already fixed on Shabbos. So anything that would need to be fixed is a problem, because then you're rejecting Shabbos. But people would go so far not just to fix something, to build something entirely new. That's the power of instruments. It's the power of music. Instruments are very powerful. We see instruments as like a major weapon, a tool, and a weapon that could be used to build and create great things or to destroy.
It's like Mad Max, that like one guitar player was like from the car, like that was craziness, chaos.
If
Man.
I use my free will to control my impulse to fix.
So here the rabbis saw that not everyone can have that free will, and they can't let some people do it and some people not.
Well, go ahead.
Special privileges.
A Levite would be better, a hardcore Levite, because the Levites were the ones specifically responsible. But the rabbis made something called a low plug, called across the board. Let me give you another example of this. In Torah law, we're not allowed to be in the same room as somebody who's not a woman who's not your wife, locked in the same room. What do you say about that?
Even your
Just like-
sister?
No, sister's different.
Can't be.
Mother's different, grandmother's different. But a woman who's not your secretary. Nobody's in the office. Doors are locked. Nobody's coming in. What? First of all, it's obvious. What were they worried about?
Adultery.
For sure. Because the rabbis understood the natural human impulse. And it's always like the ones that say, oh no, this will never happen to, this guy says, this will never happen to me. But they understood that, things happen. Things happen, even to very big people, sadly. Even to dignitaries, presidents. Things happen. And so the rabbis understood that even people who are very, very great, stuff happens, and therefore they made offense to that because the consequences are so severe. The person throws away everything. For what? For nothing. So they made offense for that. So what if you have a person who says, but I can control myself? What do you say?
The Mishnah, the Yahweh says not to believe in yourself.
Al tamen ba'atzmecha al yomi sascha. Don't trust yourself until the day you die. Meaning to say, until the day that you die, there's challenge. God's always throwing challenges. But let's say, but no, I can handle it. What do you say? Everyone's like, I know, that's me. Like, I can handle it, Rabbi. Like,
So everyone's
you can disagree. You could say, no, I really can.
I can't though, so I would like to say.
I feel like everyone's got those things that they maybe would do better at than other people, and then those things that maybe they would struggle with more than other people. The
Okay, very
question is
good.
like, why can't we individualize like what can we personalize Judaism so that you put the fences up strongly where you need them, and then
Great point. So the answer is we do that. And we also have things that are called low plug, which means there are basic fences that go up to everybody. Even the person that says, but I know that I could be the guy that could handle being with my secretary, we tell him the basic fences have to be there. But let's say, even the guy who thinks that he could do it, and even if there is a guy that could do it, by the way, the greatest sages themselves said they didn't trust themselves. Because you have a friend inside of you. You know what his name is? Mr. Yetzer Hara, your evil inclination. What's that? YH. No, hashtag that one. YH, the Yetzer Hara. He's cunning. And remember I told you the Yetzer Hara is your most diabolical enemy. He's your worst enemy that's risen through your internal ranks and secretly become your most trusted secret advisor. And you didn't even know that it happened. So he's whispering in your ear, making you believe that that's what you want to do. Like somehow that this is going to be good for you. And therefore, you can't trust yourself until the end. So there has to be basic fences. And that was something that even, let's say, somebody could. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't know. And the rabbis gave basic fences to everybody. That being said, what if you have somebody that he knows this is his struggle? Maybe he could even make additional fences. That's the idea. Let's say he knows he struggles with this. Let's say, okay, he's not in a private area with a woman that's not his wife, or his sister, whatever, or mother, or grandmother. Like locked in a room where no one's going to come. But maybe he's careful with other things also. Maybe he doesn't spend so much time, WhatsApping other girls that are not, his wife. Or maybe in general he's just careful with that. Because he knows if I start WhatsApping, I know where that goes. So a person has to make fences beyond the basic fences. Especially if he knows that he has a tendency and a proclivity. And especially in this area, when it comes to anything to do with these topics, we tell a person this is the greatest struggle that a person has. And something that we talked about before, that's why you notice when you come to Torah, we're very into the sanctity of this. Is not because we want to limit you, bless you. It's because we want you to have the most maximum intimate relationship with your wife as exclusive and not thinking about other things. So in this case, the fact that a person is being exclusive actually brings depth of relationship. Anybody disagree with that? Say, nah, you could be it's all good. Yeah. I was hoping somebody to, at least to...
Well, actually, I agree further because it's not just putting a fence for yourself, but it's also being very considerate for the other person. Because maybe you have let's say you're talking to a woman, maybe you have there's nothing there from your end. But you don't know if there's something there from her end. Right? So you don't want to play with her emotions. You want to minimize the amount you play with her emotions. So you make the boundary very clear.
Very good. I mean, that's a great point. Not only for the person themselves, but if someone's speaking to somebody else and they're getting led on to believe this is going somewhere, but it's not, then you're breaking somebody's heart. Every relationship in this world is going to have to be dealt with up in heaven. If people broke other people's hearts, God forbid. We have to fix things. They have to be real and own up and to man up to things that have happened. So that's why we take relationships so seriously. Because we actually care about people. We care about relationships. We want people to be led on in a real way. What about having What about this situation? Someone's married, but he has like a girl, like his best friend who's also like a girl, but he's also married. But there's like a girl he grew up with. It's like his childhood like best friend, but he's married to somebody else. Sound good? What do you say?
Wait, what was the question? I spaced out.
It's okay.
Sorry.
He's married,
Okay.
but there's like a girl that he grew up with that's like was always like his close friend. So he wants to like be best friends still.
I'd like to say it's okay.
And he has like a picture of her beside his bed also.
Oh, that's pushing it.
Why? So before he goes to bed, like he kisses his wife goodnight and just looks at his childhood friend in the picture frame beside the bed.
That where he makes love to his wife. Can't have his childhood best friend watching that. It's bad karma.
Bad karma.
Dude, that's bad. That's bad. You wouldn't put a picture of your mom and your dad next to your bedside. Like, that's just like, you're not going to do. You love them, but no.
So why do we feel like something's off about it?
After the same.
Or like, or the guy, or the I read Dove Bear said event. She says, or the other way, like the guy comes home and his wife is there and he comes to the room and like beside her bed on a little frame is a picture of Brad Pitt in a frame.
I'd be like, fine, go marry him.
He's a handsome man. She's like, I just like the way he looks. Like, you cool with that? What do you say?
No.
She can be fine with the way he looks, but she can't have a picture of him
Why not?
next to the bed.
You're more upset with a picture than actually staying best friends with somebody? So it's a picture.
Well, I think the issue with the picture.
Yeah, hit it, Ben.
I think the issue with the picture is that, well, like, when you're talking to someone, you're connecting with, like, their soul. You're connecting with them as a person. Like, you can learn, like, a lot of things from a person, whether they're a man or a woman, like, when you talk to them. As I have with many friends who are girls. But, like, when the picture, you're just relating to their physical appearance. Like, yeah, sure, maybe you can imagine, like, words coming out of their mouth. But, like, when you're just relating to the physical appearance, like, the main issue with their relationship with a woman is that there's always might be some layer of physical attraction that you wouldn't, like, necessarily have in a relationship with a guy, which sort of, like, distracts. And that when you're, like, with your wife, like, the main competing thing is when you're distracting with your wife is, like, the physical appearance of your friend that's a girl. I mean, like, of course, when you're with your wife, you're having a conversation with your wife, you could be thinking of a conversation that you had with your guy friend that was also maybe spiritually enlightening. In a way, that could compete as well, and a conversation you have with a girlfriend could compete as well in the same way that one with a guy friend would. But a girl's appearance...
Just saying it's the appearance itself is more problematic because it's relating just to the more physical aspect, but the human being, I'm relating to both the physical and the emotional, spiritual element of that person.
Yeah, and as a human being, I found me the same way. I get the same fulfillment in a friendship with a girl as, like, when I talk to the human being as I do with the guy. There's just an added.
So would it be better to have? So do you think it would be okay to have not the picture in the room, but actually bring the girl into the bedroom herself?
If your wife's not in town, it happens is the only place that, like, you're able to have a down-to-earth conversation with your friend as a girl is in your bedroom, because all other places are contaminated by nuclear waste or something like that, then yeah, bring her into your bedroom, like, sure, and then have a conversation. I think you should be able to separate that.
So, nuclear, like this sounds like an Armageddon situation. There's nothing else in the world. Your wife has gone and is this person in risk of death or something to bring her in?
Well, yeah, ideally you wouldn't have to, but I'm saying if you should be able to have a conversation with any of your guy friends in your bedroom, a real conversation, say spiritual conversation, intellectual conversation about, like, clipping your toenails or whatever, like any conversation in your bedroom with a guy, you should be able to have that with a girl.
Everyone think this. There's a few layers to that. Everybody agree? Disagree?
Disagree.
Talk it out, my friend. Rabbi.
You're right, you should be able to. In a perfect world, if you just had your Yetzer Tov, but you can't.
Yeah.
You should be able to. You're right. That's the perfect.
Hashtag YH.
To be honest,
you just
every
can't
single
do it.
friend who's a girl I've had, I've evaluated at some point in our friendship whether I'm attracted to them or not. And the fact that I did that is exactly the
Yes.
problem.
I had a
Even just a few, like at one time, it's still there.
I had a friend that visited, and I lived in a studio. So like the bedroom was the living room was and she wanted to stay at my place. And she had a friend that was like lived like a mile away. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why she didn't want to just stay with her friend. And I accommodated her.
I think we see like.
I was just like, you can sleep on an air
Okay,
mattress.
I think we see that
It's very strange.
I think what you got to appreciate now is why the rabbis made fences. Can you appreciate the rabbis are very smart people. We can see now why they made fences, because they get human psychology. They get what goes on in our being. That's very, very significant. And they understood that. And if you're honest with yourself, and when you learn Torah, and you see the way the rabbis set things up, and you really are honest, you realize they get it. We like to fight it because we have a Yetzer Hara. But if you're honest, and you have like honest conversations like this, you see like, I understand because there's a force within me that is pulling in a certain way, and therefore, if fences are not set up, then things happen. And the Torah always understands it's never going to be worth it. Cost-benefit analysis, what you're going to throw away will never amount at all, ever, to that of error. Yeah, so far so good. Oh, we mamish finished up. Hold on, 1 second. Last question, Moshe Chaim, hit
I
it.
was gonna say, the Yetzer Hara is Hashem gave us the Yetzer Hara. So why would it like?
Hashem gave us the Yetzer Hara that we could make free will decisions and not choose it.
But how come it goes to such a far extent to get you to do something?
So that you can make real strong free will decisions. If the Yetzer Hara was no match at all, you would never be the master of your decision making. If the Yetzer Hara was like easy, you wouldn't gain anything. If you go into the gym and just lift up like these little like, I don't know what's the proper term, fairy weights, these little, tiny little things, then you're not going to become buff. You gotta lift, put the plates on. And then that's when the gains happen, right? So same thing. The gains will only happen when there's resistance. And the bigger you get, the bigger your Yetzer Hara gets. I know. The Yetzer Hara gets bigger, and the Yetzer Hara gets more cunning. He gets more, diabolical. And you have to know his game. How do you know his game? You got to learn Torah. It says, Barasi Yetzer Hara, I made the Yetzer Hara, but Barasi like Torah Tavlin, and I made one antidote. Torah. We should mamish learn the Torah. We should be Zayach Mashiach Tzidkein in heaven. Amen. To be continued. Yeah,